Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, we are here for another step into the arena of BridgeWar. I am your host, Rob Barrington, and I'm going to play four hands of BridgeWar Extreme, folks. That is the highest echelon of battle here at BridgeWar, and it's essentially just a really good version of Bridge without any of the bidding that we have to deal with. So this is just card play, and we are going to jump in and talk not only about all of the best ways to play this, but tips and tricks for your future success at all versions of this lovely game of bridge. So here we are. Once again, we're going to pick our journey, and that's going to be twofold in this program, folks. We are going to pick whether or not we want to play with a suit as the trump suit, and also how many tricks we're going to take. And this is essentially the version we are playing right now is the exact same decision-making matrix that we're using in Real Bridge. We're usually determining whether or not we have a fit in a suit, and a fit is 8 cards or longer, and then we're determining how high we can actually play, meaning how many tricks we can take. The higher we bid, the more we get rewarded. Just like in Real Bridge in this version, the more you bid, the more tricks you have to take, but the more the reward is as well as far as a points taking mechanism. So here we are. We are looking at whether we want to have a hero suit. What do you think, folks? Make your choice. I'm going to make it quickly. You can pause if you need to and take your time. Here it is clearly spades, folks. We have not just 8 in a fit, we have 9 spades between our two hands. We have 9, the opponents have 4. This is an excellent, advantageous position for us to use this as the trump suit or the hero suit, if you will. So we're going to choose spades. Part 2, though, what are our stakes? And again, let me remind you, skirmish 7 tricks, clash 9 tricks, showdown 12. Showdown is rarely going to happen, but I hope we get to see it at some point this week. This is my second day. I would bet we get to see one of these. At least, if even if it's close, I'll go for it. Trust me. But take a look. When we have a suit as trump, meaning spades in this case, we count our losers. And what we're looking for here are quick losers, meaning if can they take very quick tricks in any of the suits? And here, hearts that can only take one. Everyone see why? I have 4 hearts in the top hand there, the north hand, but in my hand down here, I have just one. And with spades as our hero suit that we've already chosen, they can take one trick, the ace, but let's say they lead the king. I get to play one of those hero cards. When I'm out of a suit, I get to play a card from any of the other suits, and when there's a trump suit, I'm going to choose that, especially if I'm losing that trick. So that is one way we're going to avoid any extra losers than one in that heart suit. But look at diamonds, folks. Diamonds is at least 2, but very likely 3 losers, the ace, the king, and the jack. And the reason you might be saying, well, wait, if they play the ace and the king, why won't we just win the queen? But here's the deal, folks. If the king and the jack or the ace and the jack are together to our left, all they need to do is win a trick on the right side and lead through our queen, right? That lead is really important. Everyone has to follow suit and play a card to every trick. And I promise we'll see a lot of this as we go forward, maybe even on this hand. So here, I would be looking at, okay, 1 heart, 2 or 3 diamonds, very likely 3, I have to be honest, and then 1 or 0 spades. Look at that spade suit, folks. We're missing the king. How do we know if it's 1 or 0? Talk to me, folks. What do you think? And I know when I say talk to me, you might be yelling at your screen, and I know someone in your room that might be looking at you thinks you're crazy. It's okay. I told them to do that. It's fine, folks. Talk to the screen, talk to yourself. That's what Bridge is all about, honestly. It's constant conversations with yourself about what you know and what's possible. And here, if the King of Spades is in the West player's hand, we are very unlikely to lose that trick. And that is simply because we can lead towards the ace, queen, and the jack and do whatever they do. Basically, if they play low, we'll play the queen. If they play the king, we'll play the ace, and all our spades will be good. Okay. However, if the opposite is true, if the king of spades is in the east player's hand, we are pretty much always losing that trick. Right? We can't do anything productive because they get to see what we do first. Right? If we're leading spades, they get to see, okay, are they going to play the queen? If they play the queen, I'll play my king. And if they play the ace, I'll play my low spade, and then I'll play my king afterwards. The only time you might get very lucky is if the king is alone, singleton as we call it, with just one. But here, 1 heart loser, two or three diamonds, one spade. And that seems like it's very close to maybe too many tricks, but we're going to go for it, folks. We're going to go for the clash, which is 9 tricks, which means we have to play it perfectly. Here we go. Heart lead to the ace. Excuse me, ace of hearts lead. King of hearts. Okay, here we go. Exactly what I talked about before this hand started. Here it comes, king of hearts. Trump is used, right? So that hero suit comes into play right away. And they've done something else quite good for us. They have set up a trick for us on the other side of the table. If but they haven't put in the last trick button yet, folks. Hope they get that up there soon. But if I could show you the last trick, I could show you that our left-hand opponent, Warwick Wizard over there, played the King of Hearts after playing the Ace of Hearts. Both those two top honors are gone, which means that Queen of Hearts is now a winner, and we can use that to do something fun in our own hand. But we are now in our hand, and here was the play I was telling you about earlier. We're going to take what's called a spade finesse. So just like I talked about in a previous version of this, and if you haven't seen it yet, it's all linked in the description below, all the versions of this game, the walkthroughs, and also I'm playing one set of 4 deals all days, all week, every day this week. And we're going to have lots of fun. And also, I'm going to try to teach you how we just play bridge in general. Back to the program though. When I'm missing the king of spades, it can be one of two places. It can be to my left or to my right. When it's to my left, I can usually avoid losing it because if it is there, and just take a little thought experiment for yourself, folks. If the king of spades is in the West player's hand, what card should I play? If I show it to you, if West says, "Hey, it's right here," what card should we play from the North hand? Now, remember, we get the choice. We've played the 4 from our hand. They have chosen the 3, and let's assume they have the king. What card is enough to win on this round, meaning this trick? Remember, once you play a card to a trick, you can't go back and play something else. So here, when it goes low spade, the jack would be enough to win. Now, if the king is to our right in the East player's position, there's nothing we can do to avoid losing it unless they want to lead that suit themselves. And by the way, when they can see that dummy over there with the ace, queen, jack, 8, if they're holding the king, they're never going to lead that suit themselves. So here, whoa, there it did. We won. Take a look, folks. Boom, boom. That was a winner. We just played a low spade to the jack and it held. Where's the king? Where is it? Now we know it's to our left. So we want to take advantage of that. Figure out a way to do that, folks. How do we take advantage of the information we just learned? And I want you to recognize we started with 8 spades. Like that was our, excuse me, sorry. We started with 9 spades. So it's possible that all they have left is just the king, right? So playing the ace of spades could just drop that king. But we started with 9 spades. We just saw 10, 11. So there's 2 spades left. So if it's 1 and 1, the ace of spades is going to be perfect for us, no problem. But if it's king and another one to our left, we have to come back to our hand so that we can take another spade finesse. We have to lead towards that ace queen one more time. So we're very greedy at bridge. We try our best to get this right at all times. So the only way back to our hand, folks, is to play a low heart, the 10, and trump it. And if we were over trumped right now with the king, we would feel terrible. But now we found a way back to our hand. The only reason I did that, folks, well, I mean, I got to get rid of the 10 of hearts as a loser, first of all. That's lovely. But I wanted to make sure I got back to my hand, and this was the only way I could win a trick quickly back to my hand, and then take another spade finesse, and here it comes. Oh, they did have the king and the 10. Boom shakalaka. There's that queen. And we had to do it this way. We had to do it this way so that we could get our tricks in that spade suit. And take a look. We just avoided the king of spades as a loser. That's awesome. Right? And that is a finesse, folks. I'm going to show it to you again when we see the rest of these hands. But the reminder that we are going to keep dropping in when we play suit contracts. I taught bridge all day, by the way, folks. So if my words are coming out a little odd, it's because I just have a lot of bridge speak in my head and it's just pouring out at the moment. So apologies. But we want to draw trump to the moment that we know the opponents are out of trump, and we've just now determined that, right? We started with 9 spades. We played one round 10 or 11, 10 and 11. We played a second round, only one person followed, that's 12, and then this last round was 13. Now we stop. We use those spades for other things. And at this point, it looks like we're just going to lose some diamonds. I don't know why I played that card, but that's okay. We're just going to lose some diamonds here. I'm just going to play a low diamond, and maybe we'll only lose one diamond. No, excuse me, 2 diamonds if they have the ace and king on our right. But take a look. This is what I was talking about earlier. If the honors are split between the hands, ace in one hand, king in the other, the only way we win the queen of diamonds is if they lead the suit and they get it wrong, basically. Here, we're at the mercy of the honors being split, and the queen just gets crunched between their stuff, right? And that's what's happening on this hand. Notice if we had played low and not the queen, when they led their diamond, they would have won with the 10, and then they crunched the queen down with the next one. So the rest are ours, though. We have these clubs and those good spades. When you know you have the rest of the tricks, folks, this claim button will help you out a lot. We have 2 tricks left. They're both trumps. We win. Boom. Dual record 1-0. 3 to go. Let's dance. Now, oh, I forgot to just point out that last finesse, folks. Maybe some of my editors would come in later. Ace, queen, jack of spades, opposite 3 small, right? If the king is on the right-hand side, I just am never taking an extra trick. They're always getting it. But whenever it's on the left-hand side, I can avoid losing it pretty much, especially when it divides reasonably evenly. So that is, and a lot of people think that's risk when we take that finesse, is what it's called again, folks. That is not risk. That is it's a 50% chance at extra goodness. Okay. So what if I just gave you a lottery ticket and said, hey, that's just a 50% chance? And I didn't ask you to give me anything. That's what a finesse is, right? It's someone giving you an opportunity to take extra tricks, and when it's not working, you didn't give up a darn thing. You took the same amount of tricks you were always taking. So it is not risk, it is just trying for reward. Let's put it that way. All right, take a look. Do we want to play with a trump suit? Talk to me, folks. And again, talking to your screen is talking to me. And if you're watching over the shoulder, or you're hearing your spouse or significant other start talking to themselves into the screen, we're learning bridge, folks. Leave us alone. We have hearts as a fit, folks. That's an 8-card fit in hearts. And we also have a little bit of what we call an unbalanced hand in the South. We talked about this in a previous episode, but it's really worth looking at. The South player's hand, and I'm going to pick hearts first so we can get this screen out of the way. Hello, pick, please. Are we not working? Oh, sorry. There we go. Sorry, I have to click select stakes again. There's my brain going again. All right. So in this case, South is unbalanced, meaning South has very few spades, 1 or 0, and they have 9 cards and 2 suits, essentially hearts and clubs. But the North hand, our partner over there, Dragon, has a flat hand, or what we call a very balanced hand. Okay. So a lot of times we might want to play no trump with the North player's hand, and most of the time with the South player's hand, we would prefer to steer it towards a suit. So if we find a fit, we're usually going to try to play it anyway, and we're going to dig deeper on that the further we get in our bridge journey. But for this one, we don't care if it's hearts, spades, diamonds, clubs. We're just looking for a fit. And if we played no trump, spades would be a little bit of a challenge for us because the opponents have so many of them. Now, we've picked hearts. Let's start looking at how many tricks we think we can take. And I don't want you to worry. If you play this version of the game and you just want to click skirmish every time and try to get your 7 tricks in, there's no shame in that. There's no problem whatsoever. But what I'm trying to train you to do is look at the potential of each of these hands. And when we talk about suits, we're just going to look at things we expect to lose. And in this hand, if we assume we're playing hearts, and I've made you choose that here, look at losers, meaning when we play this suit, we're going to lose certain numbers of tricks. Let's look at clubs. How about that? How many losers do we have in that suit? So between both hands, likely 0, but it could be maybe 1 at the very end, that tiny 3 of clubs. But here, what I'm trying to get at is that's a suit that looks like it's pretty solid, and it especially has a lot of time to to stop and also could just be all winners. Look at the spade suit between both hands, and remember, hearts will be our hero or our trump suit on this hand. The spade suit would be one loser. That's how I would count it. And it's because I have all the big trumps, the long trump suit, five hearts in my south hand, and I only have one spade. So once they take the ace, either the king will be a winner, or if they don't take the ace right away for some reason and we don't lose the king, we're just going to trump any spade that they lead. Okay, so that's one loser in spades. Hearts is a suit that, my goodness, we definitely have one loser, the ace, but we may also lose to the jack at some point. We don't know. So it's one or one and a half losers. So I'm up to two losers at least with a one spade and one heart. How about diamonds, folks? Yeah, it looks like it's two losers possibly, the king and the queen. However, we're gonna mess around with that suit, maybe show you something else. But I'm gonna always try to go for the gusto, so I'm gonna go crazy and bid nine. Um, Here's what I have to tell you. This is an interesting problem. They led this spade here, and then remember, when we're the declarer, and we always are, the person to our left is just going to make the lead, and that's always that West player for our purposes. They chose a spade, but here's a rule, and I think the robots or the wizard over here knows this rule really well. You never want to be leading away from an ace versus a trump suit. And I know that might sound like Greek to a lot of you. And if you're Greek, I apologize because that sounded just like normal English to you. Um, in these situations, when we are playing in a suit and they are defending, a very bad choice of first leads would be to have a suit that has an ace in it and lead something away from that in that same suit. So leading low from a suit combination where you have the ace is just bad for business. Almost everyone knows this. So I would make the deduction that the ace of spades is in the east player's hand. So instead of wasting the king, I would play. Oh, wow. The ogre just played the ace. That's awesome. And this is another reason you do that. Sometimes they don't have a real clear understanding of should they play maybe the 10 if they had it, or should they play the ace. And a lot of times they just play their highest card. So notice just that little bit of information. And that's what bridge is, folks. It's deducing what's happening or what's likely based on what the opponent's choice was. And think of it, folks, every time we choose a card, we're making a logical choice that has now betrayed information about what we may have. All right. And the further we get and the better you get at this game and remembering, the more perfect knowledge we will have. And now they're leading this Jack of Spades. Well, we're going to throw away one of our losers. Our diamond was a loser, right? Our three of diamonds was a card that was potentially a loser, and now we're throwing it away on that very nice king of spades. Okay, time to play hearts. And I'm going to play a low heart. And here, folks, I'm just going to play the 10 and hope I'm trying to guess the heart position. So I was hoping the Jack of Hearts was to my right. And by doing that, by playing low to the 10, I was hoping I was either going to see the ace, right, or nothing. Maybe the 10 of hearts wins. But here, unfortunately, it was the worst case scenario. We're going to win our club. After they led a club, by the way, they won the heart and led a club. And here it looks like, well, I don't know. Maybe we couldn't have won this hand, but low heart to the king probably could have been nice if that was ace jack and only ace jack. Okay, we're gonna win this one, and we're gonna draw a round of trump. Okay, and now I'm gonna mess around with these guys. I'm gonna play a low diamond. I always know I'm losing a diamond here, and now that's their fourth trick. Now maybe we have a little. Yeah, here we go. We can play ace of diamonds. And now we get the best of all worlds. We play another diamond. They played the nine, so this is a nice little one. Boom, we trump that. And now it doesn't matter if the clubs break evenly or not. That eight of diamonds is just a winner. And we're going to gobble that up and throw away a possibly losing club. And as you notice, the clubs were not dividing evenly. The clubs were 4 and 2, I believe. And there it was. They only had two to our right. So we gave ourselves a little extra on that. And I really, honestly, I think that was probably more of a skirmish. You should have only bid for 7 tricks, but I'm gonna go for the gusto, especially now that I'm up 2-0 in this journey. So let's pick our journey on this one. Take a peek. It's an interesting one. Very strong hand on both sides. And when I mean by that, folks, we've talked about balanced and unbalanced, and I have a question for you in a moment. But here we have a lot of honor cards, and strength is usually derived from honor cards, but also, as we've seen in some of our no trump contracts where we have long suits, the shape of our hand and honestly the length of some of our best suits can also be strength. So it's high cards and it's also just trick taking possibility. So take a look, folks. Do we have a fit in a suit? 8 cards is what we're looking for. You betcha. We have a spade fit, right? We have 6 spades in the north hand, 2 in the south hand. It doesn't look lovely from south's perspective, but north has 6 beautiful spades, and this is a partnership game. We're playing both of these hands together, so when we have 8, the opponents have 5, and we are running with our fits, and this is a beautiful spot. Now the question's going to be, well, I actually, here, bonus question, folks. Bonus question. Which hand is unbalanced? Or maybe a better question, which hand is more unbalanced, the north hand or the south hand? They're both pretty unbalanced. Anytime you have a 6 card suit or 6 cards in one suit is what I'm saying. You're kind of unbalanced in general, but north is way more unbalanced because look at that. They have 6 cards in the spade suit and 4 cards in the club suit, 10 cards in 2 suits. That's a lot, folks. So here we pick spades. You pick, folks. Do you want to play skirmish, 7 tricks, clash, 9 tricks, or showdown, 12 tricks? What is your pleasure, folks? So I think you should pick clash, which is 9 tricks. But I see possibilities of taking 12, and I haven't done it yet live, so I'm going to show this one down. And if we lose, we'll at least have an exciting last hand. But to be fair, if I were looking at this hand, and now I hate my choice because they're leading a low club, it makes me sick. Um, it makes me think that the club finesse is losing, which is not great because that's what I based my 12 trick bid on. But let me take you back to square one. If I were really picking this, I would say, okay, look, I have one diamond loser pretty much always. If they lead a diamond, I'm going to lose to the king or the queen or something. Okay. And then I absolutely am going to lose one spade. Right. So I'm kind of silly. Or maybe you think I'm just what man, that's just silly. What this guy's a dummy. Well, how did he become a pro bridge player? What happened? But here, what I am picturing is I'm gonna throw away that 7 or 8 of diamonds and dummy on my king of hearts. So the dummy only has one heart, but I have the ace and king of hearts in my hand, so I get to throw away a diamond. So I went from one diamond loser down to 0. And I still think I'm always losing one spade unless I get really lucky. So the whole point of this is the king of clubs in the west player's hand or the east player's hand? Well, oh, it's in the west player's hand. So this was a 50% chance of taking 12 tricks at a showdown. And if this was wrong, if the king was to my right, I just went, oh my goodness, I'm going to lose more than one trick, okay? And that means your slam just went down. So here, that's an interesting queen. All right, 8, 9, 10. We're going to play the king of hearts. We're counting trump. This is the only suit we need to count, folks. 11. There's 2 left. We draw every stitch of trump here, folks. So we're playing the 10. We're going to pitch a heart. What are they going to return? There comes their diamond. Uh-oh, we might be in trouble, but I think we're going to find a way. This is interesting. They've really putting it to us. Here's what's happening, folks. This is crazy. The robots are so good. AI is coming. Uh, East has a trump left, right? So East, our ogre friend over there, has a spade. And by the way, this is kind of every bridge player. Every bridge player has this happen. You're just sitting there going, "Oh wait, whoa, interesting. We're in trouble." They have put us back on lead, and we're leading from our hand. But we need to draw the last round of trump from their hand. Okay. And what might be happening, when it's really kind of dirty if it's happening, is they might be out of clubs. So if I do lead a club towards dummy, and I know, remember from the trick one, the king of clubs is to my left. If I lead a club towards dummy now and I play low and it goes queen, they might just play their spade and now I lose a diamond as well. But I can keep that from happening by playing the ace king of hearts, throwing away a diamond, and then doing the same thing. But then it's the same problem. So here I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope that he has a club. Well, oh no. All right, we're gonna make it interesting then, folks, because now they're gonna take a diamond, which is terrible. We could have avoided this trick, but it doesn't matter. We're in real trouble. Okay, good. They hooked us up with this nice little heart trick, and now we'll take the rest. I hate myself. Okay, that's what bridge is, folks. You end up really, if you play any good sport or any good game, stuff happens like this and it's tough. And honestly, this was me just bidding too much and being a cowboy, right? So in reality, I think we talked about it and on the auction. Of course, we would want to stay in the nine trick level there. We don't want to bid for 12, but I went for it, folks, and of course it was wrong. So we will live to fight another day. The best thing is, the worst case scenario is they redeal another hand, you give it another shot, but we have to be careful. We're only in a duel and we're 2-1 now, so we don't want to tie it up or anything like that. But we also don't want to be timid and give up any score that we could achieve here. So let's take a peek. Last chance to excel. Spades looks like it's going to be our hero suit, folks. I hope we all agree. You do have, you could play with no trump in there and maybe take seven tricks, but with spades as trump, wow, you have a lot more chance. And I am not going to be timid. Spades, I'm going to select stakes, clash, nine tricks. And the reason is I have a very good shaped hand in both players' positions. I don't love that they've gotten off to their best lead, which is diamonds, because it takes away our ace of diamonds in our hand. But I'm going to get to business right away. And the business is I'm going to start trumping hearts in that hand over there. And how am I going to do that the most often? Well, I'm going to keep getting back to my other hand. There we go. And then I'm going to trump another one. I'm hoping to see the king here, actually. I didn't see it quite. So we could try one more go through of this and whatever, let's do it. I'm going to lead a diamond. And a good robot will lead trump right now. They'll lead a spade. And if they don't lead a spade, it might mean something interesting, folks. It might mean they don't have it, which means I can probably lock up nine if I just trump this. Yeah, let's do that. Bingo, bango. Let's trump that. Oh yeah, now we know they don't have trump. I can take nine tricks just by playing this queen of spades, folks. So our our duel is over. We're definitely going to win the duel. I want to take two tricks though, so I'm going to play a club instead. And I'm going to play club to the king. And I don't really care if it loses. If it loses, watch what happens. I always am going to get two tricks because they can play another club, fine, but now they have to lead to me. And that jack of spades that he has over there is cooked city, right? There's that 10. There goes the queen. Oh, well, they split, so it didn't matter. But if they had two spades over there, we just kind of cobbled that together and got all our tricks. So that is all she wrote. I think I missed a spade on that one, which shows you when not only can you miscount at your level, you can miscount at any level, especially if you're kind of distracted and doing other things. But there we go. 3-1 on the duel and 1-0 in the battle. I'll take it. Let's get back to home base. Let me just show you where we are. Doing well in my numbers there, it looks like. I don't know what that means, but it means I've played enough BridgeWar, and if you sign in, it'll just keep track of all your successes and some of your failures. And honestly, you'll learn way more from your failures, so you'll hope for a lot of those at the very beginning. But BridgeWar Extreme is the way to go, folks. It's the top tier. To get to this level, don't forget a bunch of videos out there for you, walkthroughs of all the versions, and then many, many versions of just me playing hands in BridgeWar Extreme to get you used to it. Hope to see you next time, folks. Get at these tables, get into the war, and start clicking off those wins, folks. Thanks a lot. See you next time.